Today you got to read a legend about your Native American Indian tribe. So, I am going to show you how to create the storybook for your legend that you read today during reading time. So, what you will need today is you will need your file folder, you will need the front page, which is your storybook page. So, tear that out. Yes, you only have one page left, and we will be doing that last page on Monday. So you can save that until Monday. You will need color pencils, your pencil, your glue, and your scissors. So I'm going to set my materials aside. And I'm going to set my folder aside for right now. So we are going to cut each one of these strips of paper out. So you will have a total of 4 strips of paper. So it takes just a little bit of time to cut them out. There's one. See, what you can do to make it a little easier is you can cut the whole thing out together. Sometimes I like to take cutting shortcuts. Get it? Shortcuts. Anyways, bad joke. So then move my trash aside. Don't leave your trash lying around. You might make your parents upset. And then they'll make you take out all the trash. Okay, there's 2. Actually, I need to cut this off. See, that's the great thing. Now all you have are straight little strips to cut off, which makes your cutting job so much easier. When we're in class, I like to challenge my students to try to cut their entire page out with just one piece of trash, which is very hard when you're doing something like this. But with other things, you can totally do it. That way there's not little bits and pieces laying around everywhere. Because then you have to go back and pick up all those little bits and pieces. Okay, done with all my cutting. So now I have my 4 strips. So if you remember, as before, we are going to fold on the dotted lines for each one of these pages. So fold on the dot. So focus on the dotted line and not lining your edges up, okay? You want to line them up, but you can always trim if they don't line up later. So focus on the fold mark. So like this one, is a little bit long right there. So I'm going to trim it off because it's very important that these stay the same size. And you'll see why in just a bit. Okay, so take this one. I didn't line it up just right. There we go. And the last one. Okay, so this project is a lot of fun, but it can be very difficult, so please follow along. If you need to pause in between steps, feel free to pause so that you can catch up. So if you notice, there are numbers. Well, first of all, we're going to glue these pages together. I am going to grab a piece of scratch paper, or just any kind of paper, and use that so I don't get the glue all over my table, because on this one you need to make sure you go all the way to the edge. Okay, so we're going to glue these together like so. There's one glued together. Okay, you're going to do the same for all 4 of these. So make sure you go all the way, especially getting the glue on the edge and the corner. That's super duper important. There's 2. And you don't want to glue to your table. So use a piece of paper, scratch paper, or something to glue against so that you can go over the edge. See how I'm going over the edge? Yeah. Okay, there you go. What we're doing is making a little tiny book, and you are going to illustrate and write your Indian tribe legend on each page. Okay, so last one. Beautiful. So now let me show you how to assemble the pages together. So you probably noticed those numbers, which is great. We are going to put them in order. Okay, so this is 7, 8, and 5, 6, 7, 8. It sounds like I'm doing a dance routine. Okay, 3, 4, 5, like that, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they're in order. So now I'm going to take them. Still, probably should use a piece of paper. You're going to apply glue just along that little strip. Don't go past it, otherwise you're going to be gluing on to where you're going to put your picture. Then you won't have any room for your illustrations. So basically what we're doing is gluing the binding for your book together. Okay? So now on 4, on that little binding edge, I'm going to glue. I'm going to take 5, and I'm going to connect 5 to 4. And then here's 6. I'm going to put glue on 6, and I'm going to connect 7 to 6. Now notice on page 8, there's no lines here because we're going to put glue on this and glue it into our folder when we're through illustrating our story. Okay, so if you don't do this correctly, it can get kind of messy and it can look kind of bad. So let me show you an example of a student who messed up the pages, and so now the book they're not glued together and they're not in order. So, and look at, the binding is on the wrong side. Your book should open on this side and the pages should go this way. So what she should have done is stapled, if she was going to staple it, on this side. So you could, if you have a stapler that reaches, you can staple this in instead of gluing it, but if you did it correctly, you won't need to do that. So before we glue this in, I actually read the legend for the Chumash tribe, and I did my own little picture book. So let me show you what I came up with. So what I did was I did just the main events of the story, and I shortened what was happening on each page. So obviously the first page is your cover. The back page you're not going to put anything on because that's where you're going to glue it. So my legend was called How the Dolphins Came to Be. So, no humans lived on Santa Cruz Island. So there's my Santa Cruz Island. Hutash, the earth goddess, made the first Chumash people. See her using her magic to make the people? The sky snake gave them fire from the lightning. So if you remember, the nights were cold and they needed something to keep warm. So Hutash asked the sky snake to make fire for them. The white condor flew too close to the fire, burning his feathers and turning them black. So see, this was a white condor, but he flew into the fire and burnt his feathers. The island had too many Chumash. Some had to leave. Hutash made a rainbow bridge, but some Chumash, as they were going over the bridge, fell into the water. So she made them dolphins. and that is how dolphins came to be. So now that my story, see how it opens the correct way? Now I'm going to take this and I am going to glue it right here in this spot. So if you did it correct, you are going to apply your glue to page 8. That's the glue page. And then you are going to glue it down right here in between your food wheel and your clothing. And if you glue it down right, then you should still be able to open your pages and look at your story just like that. Okay? Hope you had fun today reading about your legend of your Native American tribe. And have fun. Make sure you work really hard on your illustrations and have fun with it. Next week, we will finish the last bit of our lap book. See you next week.